What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. So I thought it'd be fun to take a little pause from the deep dives here, make a quick video talking about 10 breakout candidates here for the NFL in 2018. Now, these guys really aren't in any particular ranking, just a list of 10 guys. And the main criteria here is really just players that I see taking a tier jump up, or maybe even 2 tiers up. So some of these guys are already studs, some of them are even stars already, and other guys are players that haven't even really been full-time starters. So let's get into it here. Number 10, Deion Jordan, the Miami bust, the 4th overall pick. Really flamed out in Miami, just really struggled, I think, with the strength aspect of being a pass rusher. Also, some off-the-field commitment issues as well. But he comes into Seattle, a new culture, and it turns out to be a really good fit for Deion Jordan, and he really came on at the end of last year. This team needed to find someone opposite of Frank Clark as Cliff Averill was being phased out there, and Deion Jordan really stepped up. He changed his body completely. He now has the size to complement that amazing speed that he has. So he was drafted to be a serious high upside pass rusher. We had forgotten about him, and now he's making his way back into relevancy. So look out for him to maybe have a 10-11 sack season and really become a good partner for Frank Clark as a not so bad pass rush there for Seattle. And then number 9, we're going to stay in the NFC West. And this is more so about bringing attention to a player that, depending how close attention you paid to the NFL, you may or may not have been aware of how good DeForest Buckner was last year. Really played outstanding as an interior defensive lineman. That 3-4 technique really can move all over the place. Just such a freak athlete, but his technique really improved. He can handle double teams if you match him up one-on-one, which sometimes you've got to do with this good D-line. He will just obliterate you. So if you ask across the league, some might already say he's a star, but I'm talking about DeForest Buckner emerging next year as one of the elite defensive names in the NFL, a true superstar, which if you look at how well he played last year, you could argue he already is. And then number 8 is kind of the opposite. This is a total flyer on a guy that really hasn't proven anything in the NFL, more of just a hunch. And I talked about him in my Raiders deep dive. We've got Johnny Holton here. Who? Well, Johnny Holton, he's a third-year player out of Cincinnati. Really, really good athlete. 4.4 type of 40, good 3-cone type of stuff. So he's got a high ceiling as a receiver, but when undrafted, and you might be saying, but they got Jordy Nelson, Martavis Bryant, Amari Cooper, how is he going to break out? Well, for one, I think Jordy Nelson's done, and he's going to get a chance to start, but I really think he has a solid chance to lose that job. Now, Martavis Bryant may or may not be in trouble, but even if he's on the field, he's had some inconsistencies. I really believe that Johnny Holton could take a step up and emerge as a legitimate number 2 weapon for this offense. Again, it's a bit of a long shot, but just a name to keep an eye on there. Number 7, Chidobe Awuzie for the Dallas Cowboys. Didn't play a whole lot in 2017, but did finally get the opportunity towards the end of the season and was really good when he came in. He's more or less being asked to be the number 1 corner for this team, so he's going to have to live up to the challenge. This is a player I really liked coming out of the draft. Plays very physical. Technique is very sound. He's a smart player. So the makings are all here. It's a good pass rush in Dallas as well to help him out. So look for Chidobe Awuzie to become much more of a household name at cornerback next year. Number 6, and I kind of had to put this name on there because I think Cleveland fans were starting to think that I just all around hate Cleveland. So we got Myles Garrett here at number 6, and this is, again, we're talking about a guy taking that tier jump from stud or star even to superstar. Huge believer in Myles Garrett, just does things on the football field that most human beings should not be able to do. Suffered some injury problems in his first year, dealt with some inconsistencies. This team as a whole should be much more functional. So I look for Myles Garrett to really start to finally put things all together here as far as becoming an elite defender in this league. So put him with DeForest Buckner in terms of tier jumps here up to that superstar level. Then number 5, Dante Fowler for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, he may just be the 3rd guy in this pass rush for this season. You got Calais Campbell and Yannick Ngakoue there. But you look at his pressure rate. and it was right there, actually higher per snap than Yannick Ngakoue and Calais Campbell. And the same thing I said about Deion Jordan, where he just kind of put on weight and added a strength element to his game, can be said about Dante Fowler. And Fowler also drafted with that high expectation of a top 5 pick. So look for him to see even more reps this year. Calais Campbell's not getting any younger. I believe he's 32. So I could absolutely see Fowler getting 10 sacks or so, a bunch of hurries, and then as we head into 2019, we're talking about him as potentially this team's best pass rusher, which sounds crazy because I like Yannick Ngakoue, but I think Fowler has more potential with that size, speed to be even more versatile. And before we do number 4, just a quick mention here. Mitchell Trubisky and Patrick Mahomes didn't quite make my list. I'm kind of indifferent in terms of whether I'm high or low on both of these guys, considering some people are extremely high on particularly Patrick Mahomes. I think I fall right in the middle in terms of what I expect. I certainly still have my questions about these players as quarterbacks, but there is no denying that their situation has them set up for tremendous success this year. So Mitch Trubisky and Patrick Mahomes definitely going to be potential breakout quarterbacks in 2018. Number 4 here, Ryan Grant, and he's been on a little short list of players that I've been waiting to see get an opportunity for the last 2 or 3 years, and I don't know if you could find a better opportunity than to come in and compete for the number 2 job in Indianapolis with Andrew Luck. Now, obviously, this hinges on Luck being back. As we saw in my Colts deep dive, I do believe Luck should be back. So if that's true, Luck's going to throw for 4,500 yards, probably 30 to 40 touchdowns that can't all go to T.Y. Hilton. I don't think it's going to be Eric Ebron. So look out for Ryan Grant. Really balanced wide receiver. He's going to play a good bit in the slot, but look for him to emerge as the number 2 here for the Colts. And then number 3, another wide receiver, Davante Adams. And last year very well could have been his breakout. But of course, Aaron Rodgers goes down. But the difference this year is Jordy Nelson is gone, and it really is just Davante Adams and then a significant drop-off, which makes me think it really is Davante Adams. You do have Randall Cobb and Jimmy Graham there, but Davante Adams is the true number 1 now. And he has started to get a lot of respect. He was ranked in the top 50 for the NFL Top 100. I actually thought that was pretty high, but that is a good sign looking forward. The thing about Davante Adams is he has rare footwork for his size. And you talk about his ability to release at the line of scrimmage and then the ability to make people miss after the catch as well. Really rare to pair that with someone like Aaron Rodgers. So I'm talking about a tier jump here for Davante Adams, whereas right now I see him in kind of tier 3. I could see him jumping all the way up to the top of tier 2, being kind of like a Keenan Allen right on the edge of those top 5 or 6 tier 1 wide receivers. I also think if you're talking about fantasy football, I think Davante Adams being underdrafted right now, he very well could finish as the number 1 fantasy receiver this year. Simply if you look at the numbers of how many yards and touchdowns should get thrown here and the distribution of how much should be probably going to Davante Adams. And then number 2 here, Joe Mixon of the Bengals. Now there was never any denying his talent, but he falls due to off the field issues in the draft, but just really has his life in check, has stayed out of the headlines, is even giving back to his community. So he's ready to focus on an on-the-field NFL career now. And on the field, he is powerful, quick, patient. He looks like Le'Veon Bell on tape. Only difference is he doesn't get to play with the same offensive line. So I think Joe Mixon is poised for an excellent year. Now, statistically, he's not going to have the stats that Le'Veon Bell has. It's just not as good of an offense. But I do think he's going to show us enough to truly say by the end of the year that Joe Mixon is a top 5 to 7 running back as far as talent is concerned. And then my number 1 breakout player for 2018, I am all in on Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, last year, going into the season, I said Carson Wentz is underrated, that he is already a top 10 quarterback and will finish the year as one of the league's elite. And that worked out, and I have the same confidence, if not more, in Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, some people are hesitant. They don't think he's got a big enough sample size. You know what? I don't care. He has 26 quarters of NFL film. That is enough for me to believe that what we see, which is a decisive, pre-snap and post-snap quarterback with great arm talent, good accuracy, and then you add the mobility on top of it. He came into a terrible situation with the 49ers and didn't lose a game. He dominated in his time starting for New England. So for me, Jimmy Garoppolo is already a top 10 quarterback, and I think there's a very good chance, just like I said with Wentz, that by the end of this year, he is virtually a consensus top 5 quarterback. The number one reason for that is his ability to elevate the guys around him and carry the team. So that's it. That's my list. Let me know in the comments below, guys, who you think breaks out this season. If you enjoyed the video, if you learned a thing or two, do hit that like button. Helps me out more than you know. So cheers as always, guys. We'll see you next time.